I'm a male escort, and this is how the journey started for me. After completing my national service, my boss asked me to stay on for a while. When I inquired if she intended to employ me, she confirmed that she did. So I lingered around, hopeful for a job that would improve my life. One morning, after emerging from a meeting, she approached me and asked, "Can you drive?" I replied, "Yes, I can." She then said, "Meet me here tomorrow morning. We are going on a trip. We'll be away for 3 days, just so you know." On the first day, I stayed alone in a hotel room. However, on the second day, she informed me that I would need to join her in her room because she didn't have the money to pay for 2 separate rooms. That night, as we shared the same bed, she disclosed the nature of the job she had in mind for me. "Your position isn't official. I'm the one employing you. I'll pay $3,000 a month, and we'll be going on trips like this. If you are submissive and do what I say, you'll have a raise as soon as possible." And that was the beginning of my journey as an escort. She wasn't the only one I serviced. She would occasionally lend me to her friends for trips, and I would be paid before returning. She had 3 friends who took turns requesting my services. Among them was Annette, who was my favorite to travel with. She appeared younger and demanded less from me. She didn't boss me around. Instead, she asked me to treat her as I would a girlfriend, and she paid very well. For 2 years, I continued in this role. Eventually, my madam stopped paying me directly because she felt I was earning enough from the other women I escorted. She rented a place for me to ensure I was easily accessible. Life was financially rewarding, but I wasn't happy. I felt there was no dignity in the job, and I yearned for a change. I saved a substantial amount of money and eventually told her that I wanted to quit. She asked me, "Which of the ladies is taking you away from me?" I replied, "I'm not going anywhere. I just want to start a new life and find a more respectable job. I'm a man. I want to marry and settle down. I can't do this job as a married man." She nodded, and I left, believing I had gained my freedom. I attempted to travel abroad, but I was naive and ended up spending money on unnecessary things. By the time I realized my mistakes, all my money was gone, and the trip didn't materialize. I was broke, despondent, and filled with regret. I reached out to my madam, and she took me back, but with different conditions. This time, the money I earned wouldn't be paid directly to me. She would collect my earnings and provide me with funds only when necessary. She didn't want me to escape again. I've been back in this role for another 2 years, and I now have close to $60,000 in savings with her. However, when I need something, she doesn't give me the money. Instead, she buys it for me using my funds. She is doing everything to keep me tied to this job forever. I want to leave, but she refuses to release my money. It's either I stay and continue working for money or leave with nothing. Considering the work I've been doing for her, are there any legal grounds I can use to claim my money? I just want to leave and start afresh with my savings, but she won't give it to me. If there are no legal grounds, then what clever way can I use to retrieve my money? I once wanted to buy land, and she told me she could facilitate it if only her name would appear on the document, and she would keep the document. When I asked when I could leave the job, she replied, "Someday, but not now." I'm unhappy and want to leave, but how do I do so and retain my hard-earned money? Evans. It started when I was only a teen. I'm almost 30 years old now, and I still can't take the hatred out of my heart. Our church had a new pastor. My mom had a position in church, but my dad didn't. Every day after church, my mom would stay in the church house for hours and come home in the evening, complaining about tiredness. She wouldn't cook and wouldn't do anything wives do for their husbands because it was a Sunday. My dad was the kind who didn't talk a lot. You wouldn't find him complaining or shouting or even fighting. I saw them exchanging words one day, but immediately my dad saw me. He stopped, but my mom continued as if she hadn't seen me. One day after church, we were told to wait behind, we, the kids in the children's choir. A white lady visited the church and wanted to have a meeting with us. My dad went home, my mom went to a leaders' meeting, and after the meeting, I saw her entering the pastor's office. Our meeting took like 2 hours. The white lady was teaching us a song and showing us videos of the places she had visited. By the time we closed, the church premises was empty, but I didn't see my mom coming out of the pastor's office, so I decided to wait for her. Several minutes later, she wasn't coming. Maybe she doesn't know I'm waiting for her, so let me go in and tell her I'm around. I went and knocked, but nobody answered. I opened the door and met an empty office. I stood there for a while. I don't know what I was waiting for. A few minutes later, the door to the chamber flung open. My mom came out first. She was pulling down her skirt and was trying to tie the thread in the waist of the skirt. Her headscarf was hanging on her neck with messy hair. Immediately she saw me, she shuddered. "Here, Akos, what are you doing here?" She turned away to preen herself up. Pastor followed. He wasn't wearing his spectacles, the first time I'd seen him without them. He looked sweaty in a short knicker and a t-shirt. I was very young, but I didn't need a necromancer to tell me what had happened. I turned away and waited for her outside. When she came out and saw me, she was livid. She started shouting at me. "What are you doing here? Why are you not home? Did I ask you to wait for me? Come on, leave here." I walked home while she followed, wearing the face of guilt and a smile of a heartbreaker. That's where the hatred started. My dad was a good man, and he didn't deserve a cheat for a wife. He died not too long ago, but while my mom was mourning, all I could feel for her was hatred. The surprising thing is, they had a good marriage. They took very good care of us. My mom was very responsible and fought our fights for us. You can celebrate her on Mother's Day and you won't be wrong, but she cheated. She slept with a pastor who preached against adultery in church and counseled women who had cheating husbands. My dad is dead and gone. I don't want to carry on with the hatred. Looking at how my mom has aged, she deserves love from all of us, but I can't love her the way she deserves. They say I should talk to her about it now that my dad is no more. It's the only way I can forgive her. I feel she would lie about it. I feel she would be defensive and even hate me for carrying this information for over 16 years. Should I? Or I should learn to let go and love her regardless. Is it even possible to love someone without learning to forgive first? The questions swirl in my mind as I remember those days, the Sundays that stretched into the evenings. My mother's laughter echoing from the kitchen as she prepared the little we had for dinner, while I sat silently at the table, resentment festering in my heart. She didn't know. How could she? I never told her. Over the years, I've replayed the scene in the pastor's office countless times. Each replay added a layer to the hatred I felt for her. It wasn't just about the act, it was the betrayal, the hypocrisy, and the guilt she imposed on me for seeing her in such a compromising position. The years went by, and I watched my dad grow weaker, never suspecting the woman he loved so dearly had shattered the sacred vows of their marriage. When he passed, I thought my anger would die with him, but it didn't. Instead, it morphed into something more profound, more consuming. My mom cried, and I stood there, feeling nothing but a cold indifference. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her she had no right to those tears, but I stayed silent. I've always stayed silent. In the quiet moments of my life, I think about what could have been. Had I spoken up, would things have been different? Would my dad have left her, or would he have forgiven her? These are questions I'll never have answers to. They are buried with my father, just as my ability to love my mother is buried with my childhood innocence. Friends tell me to confront her. It's the only way you'll find peace, they say. But what if the confrontation leads to more pain? What if she denies it, or worse, what if she admits it, and I'm left with the raw truth of her infidelity? Can I handle that? Can I look her in the eyes and forgive her? I sought counsel from a therapist once. She told me that forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of anger and resentment. But how do I forgive someone who doesn't even know they need forgiveness? How do I release myself from a burden that has defined so much of who I am? Every Sunday, I watch my mom go to church, her Bible clutched in her hands, her face serene. She sings in the choir, her voice pure and unwavering. I wonder if she ever thinks about that day, if she ever feels the weight of what she did. Or has she convinced herself that it never happened, that it was a figment of her teenage daughter's imagination? The hatred sits in my chest like a stone, heavy and immovable. I want to love her. I want to be able to hug her and feel warmth instead of cold detachment. But every time I try, The memory of that day rushes back, and I'm 15 again, standing in that office, my world crashing down around me. I'm told that forgiveness is a journey, not a destination. Perhaps my journey begins with understanding. I've never asked my mother about her life, her dreams, and her disappointments. I've never tried to see her as a woman beyond the roles of wife and mother. Maybe, if I understood her better, I could find a way to forgive. I remember a time when I was very young, and my mother was my whole world. She was my hero, my protector. I recall the nights she stayed up with me when I was sick, the countless sacrifices she made to ensure we had a good life. These memories are fleeting, overshadowed by the betrayal, but they are there, fragments of a love that once was. I decide to take the first step. I invite her for a walk, something we haven't done in years. She looks surprised but agrees. As we walk, I listen to her talk about her life, the things she's passionate about, and the struggles she's faced. I see a side of her I've ignored for so long, a side that is vulnerable and human. We sit on a bench, the evening sun casting a golden glow around us. I take a deep breath and tell her about the hatred I've harbored, the moment that shattered my perception of her. She listens, her eyes wide with shock and then filled with tears. She doesn't deny it. She doesn't make excuses. She simply apologizes, her voice trembling with emotion. In that moment, something shifts. The stone in my chest feels lighter. It's not gone, but it's no longer as heavy. We talk for hours about the past, about my father, about us. There are tears, there is pain, but there is also a glimmer of hope. Forgiveness isn't a single act. It's a series of steps, each one bringing me closer to healing. I know it will take time, and there will be days when the anger resurfaces. But for the first time in years, I feel like it's possible. I can see a future where the hatred no longer controls me, where I can love my mother without the shadows of the past looming over us. As we walk back home, my mom and I, side by side, I feel a sense of peace I haven't felt in years. The journey to forgiveness is just beginning, but at least now, I'm not walking it alone. We are rebuilding our relationship, one conversation at a time, and I'm learning that it's possible to let go of the past and embrace the future. It's not easy, and there will be setbacks, but I'm determined to heal. My mother deserves a chance to make amends, and I deserve a chance to find peace. When I came across your channel, I decided to share my story too. Who knows? It might encourage someone out there to forgive whoever hurt them, or it might encourage someone to also share their stories of how they overcame a betrayal. If your audience can also share with me what other ways I could heal faster and stronger, I will be grateful.